Welcome to another amazing episode of HBR Podcast. I am Real Presidente. I am stepping in for Jovani Frank, and as my good friend Jerry likes to say, I have a big cup to fill. So we're going to be talking about should you ever lie in business, right? The fine line between strategy and dishonesty. Right? It's a hot topic, right? You can go both ways with it, right? So should you ever lie in business? I'm gonna ask you guys.
No. I think definitely in this business it's being honest to our client, making sure that we are doing the best for them.
Is there a difference between the strategy and dishonesty?
Yes, I mean...
You can tell the whole truth. I mean, the truth, but not the whole truth.
He said, tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Yeah. How you turn that into whatever you just said?
No, I said tell the truth, but not the whole truth.
What if your strategy is dishonesty?
Well, Jared just said, you're not lying until you get caught.
It's not a lie until it's discredited. Right. I mean, in a world and in a time whenever you could just create your own narrative about anything, I mean, what is true and what is not?
Yeah. Do you think that these small white lies, it's super funny with this topic in a conversation that Nate and I had earlier today. Reputation's everything, and especially in today's time, you guys just say some things. Do you think that can have an adverse effect on your reputation? These small, things that you just say, you might not even consider them lies. They're just things that you say. Yeah. Marriage therapist over here.
I think honestly that it really comes down to like who your persona is. Because if you are the type of person that is always, playing around, joking around, stuff like that, I feel like you can get away with a lot more things that somebody that is, like straight to business, just like, really serious. Like, because if someone says one thing and the other person can say the exact same thing, but, just in a different manner, it can be taken into way too, like, two different like perspectives.
So and I was gonna allude to something like that, right? I was gonna say it depends on who it's coming from, right? If you look at my Instagram, and I think that that's what Vick's talking about, right? I put there one time that I was a Fashion Nova ambassador, right? And then another time I put that I was a keynote speaker, right? And now I'm put there that I was a marriage counselor, right? Certified marriage counselor. No, I didn't put certified. See, I didn't put certified. I didn't put licensed. I just said I was a marriage counselor. And you know what?
It lied on you.
I've counseled some people in their marriage. I I know a thing or two about a thing or two.
I've personally
into marriage or out of marriage?
No,
right. He's warned people not to get married, and he's like 3 for 3 on those people getting divorces.
Yes. I told those people, hey, dude, y'all shouldn't, and boom. Like I could just see it,
It comes with experience,
and it comes with experience. Yeah, definitely. So
a lot of dating experience, or what kind of experience?
Well, I mean, it comes from having a 30-year marriage, bro. I mean, come on, dog. It has to account for something, and so I can counsel you in your marriage and give you some good advice and give you some I can be impartial too, right? So yeah, but that subject came up because my son, he goes, Dad, he goes, if you ever blow up and you ever get big, people are gonna fact check you and they're gonna start, like I guess making fun of you or calling you out on Instagram or whatever. And so I was talking to Vick about it today, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? My circle in my Instagram used to be really small, right? Everybody knew who I am. Everybody knows what I say, right? But last podcast, right? Remember the girls that were here? They were saying, "Oh yeah, somebody, they saw that you were on our podcast and they got mad. That person like just hates you because of what you say and what you stand for." And I'm like, "What do I say and stand for? I stand for real estate. I stand for family. I stand for what's going on, right?" And so the thing is that now that my Instagram has kind of gotten out of control, right? Like I'm like at 10,000 plus followers, right? It's like I don't know all those people, I don't know, most, maybe I know 300 people, maybe, and 200 people, And the thing is that, if now that I'm starting to put things like that, people could take me for face value or take me for, hey, this guy's a fraud, So now I'm thinking about, oh man, maybe I should really back with the jokes and the playing around or whatever. But then I ride around with Vic all day, and then I think, you know what? Forget. I'm doing good.
I do want to take this opportunity to give a clear message to the haters, and that is we do like to joke, but we don't play, right?
That is true.
And
Flip that.
With that being said, what are the short term repercussions, of lying in your business, or long term gain? Is there any gain or short term positivity in making a small lie now? How do you when do you stop? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think in the earlier I gave an example of some realtors maybe don't have business, but they act like they have business, right? Do you always go back to that tactic, or is that tactic just useful at the very start? And then, this was a word that, Nate gave me credit for it the other day, but I didn't learn this word by myself. It was imposter syndrome. How do you overcome that when you lie to yourself and puff yourself up to be this like person? And then when the opportunity comes, you really don't know how to execute in the correct way. And maybe you can't even ask for help. How would you combat that?
I mean, I feel like it's I don't know. And nowadays, it's as a real estate agent, and especially if you are like more exposed, like on social media, or even if you're like just a listing agent. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of the business it is based off, call it a strategy or call it lies. But I feel like at the end of the day, all of the agents lie. Why? Because the first thing that you do, you call about a listing, and the first thing that the agent is going to tell you, oh yeah, like we have offers, like we have this, we have that. Why? They use that just as a strategy to create urgency.
Does that work?
I mean, it depends. It depends on the type of property. It depends where the property is located. It depends where, like what your client's looking for and what your client's urgency actually is. So I feel like sometimes it does work on clients that, are looking for something in a very specific area and the options are very limited. I feel like that's whenever it's time to say, hey, like, if we're looking for something in this specific area, like, yes, we better, get together and put together something like quickly before, somebody else, puts something ahead of us.
So like everything, location, right? Depending on where you're at, how urgent you need it, how quickly you need it, then you can make a decision on whether that's important. I'll tell you from my point of view, from my perspective, every time I hear somebody start with that multiple offer situation, I mean, I'm rolling my eyes. If you could see my face, I would just.
It's been on the market 300 days, and all of a sudden,
and I give them the benefit of the doubt because I've had it happen to me personally, where I've had a house on the market for close to 6 months, and once we're it like never fails. It's like. But you got to look at the temperature of the market, right? If rates have been high for X amount of months, and then all of a sudden rates take a 2% drop, then of course all of the buyers are looking, not just your buyer. Mm-hmm. So then you have to be, in the know of market conditions and market knowledge to make the best assessment, right? So I know that when I hear that, I'm like, okay, rates dropped, and that's what my client's buying, so that makes sense. But if rates are high, there's been no factors changing in the market, and somebody tells you, oh man, I have multiple situations. I mean, what approach are you going to take on that?
So, I mean, what I do whenever I have something like that come across, I always check on the market. I always check on what has sold in the area. If it's an area that is hot, if it's an area where the price is hot, and where I see that, man, like the last 5 homes that sold in the area sold within the first 5 days, and the price is competitive, I better submit an offer ASAP. So everything depends, and that's where everything comes down to, like, okay, do you know what Vick always says? Do you know your market? Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah, and going back to what Vick says, just the change in the market and the time of the year, it did happen to me a couple of weekends ago. We tried to schedule 2 showings in that area. I contacted the agent, and basically they told me, they're like, no, we already have it on a contract, after on a Sunday. We're going to show it on a Sunday. They just got a contract on Saturday. And it was on the market for 200 some days, and I kind of didn't believe it. I was still watching the property, and sure enough, a couple of days it went under contract. And it is because it's quarter two, it's going to start getting busy, and yeah, for sure, you got to let your clients know.
Yeah. What about you, Nate? On this earlier, I asked about strategy versus dishonesty. The topic that I was really hoping to touch there was omission versus deception. Are omission and deception the same thing? Is omission lying?
They're not the same thing. So if you talk to somebody, right, and this is just a sales 101, right? If you talk to somebody and what their pain point or what they want is a certain number, right? Hey, you know what? I don't want to go over $2,000 a month, and you find them a property, right? That's under $2,000 a month. They love the home. They love where it's at. Their family's happy there. It's a school district they want. It fits, they have a 2-car garage now, right? If they're happy with it, sign them up. Get them on contract. Sell it to them. You got them alone.
Where was the omission in that?
There's really no need for you to sit there and go, oh, I don't know, the taxes are getting really high there, right? Or I don't know, this interest rate, is really high. Or I don't know, you shouldn't be paying $2,000 a month for that type of house. That type of house should probably be $1,500. Like those are just things that you really shouldn't be pushing into if that's not what they are looking for. Unfortunately, we don't really run into payment buyers in the real estate. In real estate, everybody wants to know what's the interest rate at. And I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
The interest rate is set by the feds. I don't mess with the interest rate. Okay, you can't go to 20 different mortgage companies and get a better rate over the other. You're either going to get high fees, high rates, or you have to juggle it. So that's my omission. I don't want to say it's omission. It's just I don't bring it up if it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna bring it up if the school district is the worst school district in the whole in all of Houston. If that person's not asking me about that, why would I bring that up?
Okay, but what if? Okay, let me give you a scenario.
Sure.
Is this lying or omission? Right? If you're dealing with a couple, no kids, right? Maybe no plans on having kids. They've never mentioned kids to you, but they're bringing up the school district. How would you close that client?
If they were bringing up a school district to me with no kids,
Yeah.
I mean they're obviously planning on having kids, right?
No.
No, they're not.
They're looking at it for resale purposes or whatever reason.
Well, I mean, thank God I don't deal with people like that no more. But I because probably the first thing that come out of my mouth is, "What does it matter? You don't want kids." I mean, I'm always open with people whenever they ask me questions like that. Especially when people are talking to me about, "Hey," I say, "Where do you want to buy a house?" "Oh, anywhere where taxes are low." What's low taxes to you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, who told you to ask that question? That's really my question.
Yeah.
Like, what's low taxes to you? I paid 3.5%.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
I want no mud tax.
I want no mud tax. Why?
My mom pays a
You want
lot of
yeah,
interest.
that's what I'm
My
saying.
mom's friend's neighbor.
Yeah, my mom's friend's cousin said her payment went up $1,000 a month.
So when somebody asks a stupid question, I ask, why is that important to you? If I've already had my buyer's consultation with you, and this was never in the plan, it's always somebody else who brings up that objection for them.
For sure.
And so, sometimes I ask a question and they repeat themselves, and then they realize how stupid they look, and then they don't ask it again, and then I just don't have to talk about it.
I think the way to one of the ways to overcome objections with clients is really having a sit down with them at the beginning and knowing what they're looking for or why they're trying to move, why they're trying to buy. And by knowing that, you're going to have an answer for their objections on, why this home is, the best option for them.
Yeah. And I wanna ask this question to Jerry right now to build on what Flor was saying. You have they're always making fun of realtors online, right? And they're saying that realtors are always lying, saying that right now is the best time to buy. Is that a lie?
It just depends on your situation. When is the right time to buy? When it was it the right time to buy during the COVID? Probably not. Because it was just you're paying it just over asking price. So it really just depends. When is the time to buy for your situation?
So when is the time to buy?
Now.
today.
right now.
Right? When you're looking to move, that's the right time.
Yeah.
No, I just, I feel the same way. I'm always defending realtors. I think I've talked to Nate. My group of friends knows that I'm the only realtor in my friends group, and they're constantly, market's up, they're talking crap. Market's down, they're talking crap. It's, and I feel it's the same way with buying. They're never happy with the market regardless. Rates are low. Oh, it's too low. I can't buy houses. Rates are high. Oh, it's too high, and I can't buy a house right now. No one's ever happy. It's never going to be a perfect scenario for them until it's a perfect scenario for them. So they need to move. Now, to get back to the strategy, or to the question at hand, if I were to say I'm the best realtor in the business versus saying I'm guaranteeing you to make you money, are one of those a lie versus the other?
Everything comes down to perspective. I mean,
Depends.
Depends.
Okay, hold on. According to track, is depending on where you put that. Yes, because if you put that on the MLS on an actual public description and you write it down, they can come and get you for that. If you telling them, if you're advertising at home and you're telling them, this is the best home.
We can, I'll answer the question. Or you have a thought on it?
No.
I'll answer the question because it's a little tricky and it's not written down for you guys. But say best in the business versus guaranteed to make you money. You cannot make any guarantees.
Right.
There's no guarantees in this business. That is the only guarantee.
So
Right.
saying you're the best in the business, that falls under fake it till you make it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we spoke about that. And the thing is this, I think people lost a sense of what fake it till you make it is.
Yeah.
And so one thing, because I got into sales in the late 1900s, right? And I did. And I got into real estate in the early 2000s, right? And so the thing is that when I started sales and in real estate, they always told me the same thing, right? It was like, hey, they always told you the company that you work for, what they do for you, et cetera, et cetera. So every time that I spoke, I would always speak in behalf of the company, right? I'll say, hey, look, we pride ourselves in this. If we can get you this, we'll get you this. If and I always had a sales manager, if I started getting some questions that I didn't know, I'll go back to my sales manager. He'd come in and he'd back me up. And even though I knew absolutely nothing, right, that person would sit there for the company and bolster the buyers, I guess, they'll feel safe doing business with me, right? They knew that I was new. They knew that I knew nothing about this product or whatever I was doing, but they knew that the company was backing me, and that gave them that there's a word I'm looking for that I can't seem to find. The confidence. Yes, thank you. It would give them the confidence, right, that they were being, even though I was inexperienced, they were being backed by a company that knew what they were doing, right?
Yeah.
Now, we don't have that anymore. We don't have that anymore because you get a realtor, right? And you teach them, right? These guys come taught straight from these real estate schools, straight from Champions, okay? They get taught, hey, get all your commission. You deserve all your commission. You should get the most commission for your money. They don't tell them, hey, you're go out there and find a brokerage that'll teach you how to do this business, right? So they come in and that's all they want to do. So usually the people that give them exactly what they want and they feel comfortable with their split are usually the ones that really don't care about them. They just want the numbers and they just want the fees. And so they don't even give them that and say, hey, go find business and we're backing you and I'll come in and help you. They literally find some real estate agent that's been working with them for a few years or maybe even less and make them a mentor, right? And now you have another person that has no experience that's branding a total different name from the big company, right? Nobody wants to go, I'm throwing Keller Williams under the bus because they're the main offenders. When people look up Keller Williams, they look up Keller Williams because Keller Williams did a really good job many years ago, 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago, of making themselves seem like the go-to brokerage, right? So when people go into their brokerage and you go, they look up Keller Williams, they put their information in, then the lead comes in. Keller Williams gives that lead to a team leader, right? And then what's the name of that team leader? XYZ team, the I'm dressed, all my girls wear pink on Thursday team, I mean, it's just a person that has no freaking experience to be dealing with these people. And then that person gives the deal to their realtor that's been in the business for 3 or 4 months, knows nothing about Keller Williams. Talk to somebody at Keller Williams, ask them, what's your mission statement? What's the vision? What's the vision for the company? What's your culture? Ask them those questions. They have no idea. Oh no, that's my team leader. Oh, who's your team leader? Oh, my team leader is freaking 22 years old, I mean, it's the strangest thing to me in the world. So, you have a person, right, that is faking it till you making it, right? I mean, they're really lost that how you say, what that really means.
But who is faking it? Is it the team lead? Is it the realtor? Is it the company? Is it the whole culture that they're building over there?
It's the team leader. It's the team leader, and it goes down because nobody's really backing that team leader.
Yeah.
I mean, the company's not even backing that team leader. We literally hired somebody from Keller Williams. They didn't even know that they had joined us.
Yeah.
I mean, literally. I mean, that's nuts, And then you run into like people with half a brain, right? You have people that know how to manage themselves and know how to self-start. And they say, you know what? I don't need nobody. I can do this myself, because, if I go to Keller Williams, I go to all these people, I'm dealing with kids, not those kids. I'm just going to go to, EXP and, I'm my own boss, right? But you got EXP, right? You got hundreds of realtors that are doing their own thing, doing business their own way, doing all kinds of stuff, that just, they have no culture. They have no vision. They have no anything, all they know how to say out of their mouth is downline, and it's like, okay, so, they're faking it till they're making, but like, what are they faking? Everybody has been faking it everybody's been faking it for so long, right? What is the make it? What is that end goal? What is that ideal realtor?
I feel like that whenever, you make it, you really don't show it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I don't know. It's like, no money is loud and money is quiet.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's why I drive a 2015 Fiat. I do.
I mean, yeah.
Nate has recently been successful, so he's starting to be quiet.
I'm starting to be quiet. I pulled out a 2015 Fiat the other day, and somebody looked at me like I was crazy.
Nah, I think to fake it till you make it. I think in real estate, everyone gets caught on the flashy part, which is it's my frustration with this business is that everyone wants to do the fun part. The fun part is the shoes, the cars, the clothes. That's the fun part of this business, right? We get to shop, we get to eat, right? We get to do some stuff, have our business meetings, right? Some of the joke online, right? This dude sold no homes last year, but got taken out, by 4 different lenders for business this month,
Yeah.
So it's
Bro.
It's constantly
I'm
there.
kind of mad at that.
Why?
Because he's not doing anything, and I work, and lenders don't freaking take me out.
They gotta do these lenders and these title companies. They have to do their homework, bro. They're just taking out all these, and even this. I told somebody that the other day. I was talking to somebody. They said, "Hey, I'm gonna do a happy hour," and I said, "Oh, cool." He says, "Yeah." I goes, "I'm thinking about doing it during the week, though." And I said, "Yeah, bro, do it during the week." I said, "But do it early. Do it like on a Wednesday or on a Thursday, and do it between 3 to 5." And he goes, "Oh, ain't that a little bit early?" He said, "Yeah, bro." I said, "You don't want to do it after 5 because then all the part-time realtors will show up and drink all your beer." He said, "Man, that's a good idea. I never thought about that." I said, yeah.
It's true.
I said, "They could get the free prizes."
That's awesome. So just our final thought here. I think the most dangerous lie that you can say in business is the lie that you tell yourself every day, right? It's the lie that you tell yourself that you're working when you're really not. It's the lie you tell yourself that you're marketing when you haven't done a single marketing strategy. It's the lie that you keep telling yourself on why you don't get business and why you're not successful.
100%. I do agree with that. I feel like, like we all say that we are like our own or worst enemy by us like lying to ourselves and, faking that you're working and you're not really doing anything and your numbers are showing that you're not doing anything. Like assess that and don't lie to yourself.
Yeah. I think if you have to lie to win, then you're playing the wrong game.
Yeah.
You have to be sharp. You have to be strategic. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be honest with yourself, and you can't lie to yourself. I think one of the most important things that Nate did teach me and has taught me: lie to everyone. Lie to everyone that you want to. Lie to me if you have to, but don't ever lie to yourself. And that's something that's always stuck strong with me, because you can convince yourself, or I personally, with my personality type, can convince myself of a lot of things. Right? You just can't lie to yourself and convince yourself that you're something that you're not. You know? So that's it.
Yeah.
I have it.
I like that.
And if you stretch the truth, don't tell no one.
Stretch the truth.
That's terrible.
That is.
It's stretching the truth line. All right, cool. Well, with that, we're going to do we'll close out here. It was a great podcast. I think that my camera died when I was giving my spill, so I will not go through it again. But I did enjoy it. I do think, in short, don't lie. Be honest with yourself, and make sure that you're working on your business every day, right? I'm Victorino Cortez on Instagram, Real Presidente. We are hiring. We are looking to grow. We are looking to expand our team. And we have the best home for you here.
Flor Velasquez with Lionsgate Realty. You can find me on my social medias, Flor Velasquez Realtor.
And I'm Jerry with Lionsgate Realty. You can find me on all social media, Jerry HCX Realtor, everywhere.
And I'm Nate Balderas. I'm the master broker for Lionsgate Realty. And I just want to send a message out real quick. We are recruiting realtors. We're not poaching realtors. And I will ask nicely for all you brokers out there, please stop calling my top producers. Please stop trying to poach them. Go do business. This is what we do. We do our business the way we do our business, and we let them find us. We let them find our realtors. We show them by what we do versus cold calling them and looking at their numbers and trying to bring them aboard. I always say, and this is some advice that I'm giving you, Mr. Broker. You know who you are, and Mrs. Broker, you know who you are. And you're not even a broker. You just work for a freaking franchise. The thing is this, okay? There's absolutely no reason for you to be recruiting anybody if they already have a good thing. If somebody is another brokerage and doing good, there's no reason for me to call them and mess up what they got going and bring them over here so they could start all over. Okay? So leave my people alone. I leave your people alone. And anybody wants to join us, we're here with open arms.
Cut